Good morning. We'll commence with the opening of the meeting.
I'd like to read an opening statement. This is to advise the general public that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws entitled Senator Byron M. Bear Open Public Meeting Act, New Jersey Consumer and Control Commission on November 18, 2020, filed with Secretary of State at the State House in Trenton a notice of this hearing. On November 18, 2020, copies were mailed to subscribers. Any member of the public who wishes to address the commission will be given the opportunity to do so before the commission adjourns for the day. Please acknowledge the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. I am pleased to be able to chair this special meeting from the Commission's offices in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I welcome everyone who is joining us remotely today. As a measure to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 and to protect the health and safety of meeting participants, as well as members of the public interested in the meeting, the Commission is using remote collaboration technology for meeting participants. The public is able to listen through access provided on the Commission's website, as well as through our YouTube channel. We will accept public comments via email. Public comments can be sent to public.comments@ccc.state.nj.us. I'll repeat that. Public comments can be sent to public.comments@ccc.state.nj.us, beginning now and any time throughout the meeting. Ending at the time of adjournment, this meeting will be transcribed as well as recorded, and minutes will be available on our website in due course. To meeting participants, callers, I ask that you follow the instructions provided with the web link or audio call in code and place your phones on mute until your matter is called. Also, please remember to identify yourself before speaking. Roll call, please.
Please answer when I call your name for the record, please. Commissioner Cooper
Here.
and Chairman Pelosi.
Here. Counsel, can you enter your names for the record, please?
Mr. Chairman, let me just call the first matter because we do have two matters for the agenda. The first matter for your consideration is the amended and restated petition of Golden Nugget Atlantic City, LLC, Golden Nugget Online Gaming, Inc., and Golden Nugget Online Gaming, LLC, requesting the issuance of a casino license to Golden Nugget Online Gaming, LLC, as an internet gaming affiliate of Golden Nugget Atlantic City, LLC, and for various other rulings in connection therewith and other relief. That is PRN 225-2001.
Thank you. Counsel, can you enter your names for the record, please?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioner Pacific Wagnolini from Brown State Hyatt Barber Streck on behalf of the petitioners. With me today is also my partner, Paul O'Gara.
Thank you. Division?
Good morning, Deputy Attorney General Dylan Thompson, on behalf of the Division of Gaming Enforcement.
Is that it, Dylan, from the division?
I believe Tracy Richardson is also on the line, and I believe that would be
Morning,
it.
Chairman and Commissioners. Tracy Richardson for the Division of Gaming Enforcement.
Good morning. Thank you, Tracy. Today, the Commission is considering the request of Golden Nugget Atlantic City, LLC, Golden Nugget Online Gaming Incorporated, and Golden Nugget Online Gaming, LLC, who will also be referred throughout this proceeding as Golden Nugget Online, or GONIC, for casino licensing for GONIC as an internet gaming affiliate pursuant to sections 82B and D and 95.32 of the Casino Control Act. We called a special meeting today to evaluate whether GNOC meets the requirements for the casino license as an internet gaming affiliate and whether granting its request is consistent with the policies of the Act. To help us in making that determination, we will take testimony from the GNOC's witnesses and consider the presentations of counsel. Before we begin, I understand that we have one exhibit that has been pre-marked.
Chairman, Commissioners, the Division of Game Enforcement submitted one exhibit pre-marked as D1. D1 is the report of the Division of Game Enforcement dated November 12, 2020, on the report of the Division of Game Enforcement on the amended and restated petition of Golden Nugget Atlantic City LLC, Golden Nugget Online Gaming Inc., and Golden Nugget Online Gaming LLC, requesting the issuance of a casino license to Golden Nugget Online Gaming LLC as an internet gaming affiliate of Golden Nugget Atlantic City LLC, and for various other rulings in connection therewith. Petition number 225-2001.
I also understand that there's a sealing request pending for D1. Does council want to be heard on the sealing request and the admission of the exhibit into record?
Chairman, Sipco Agnolini, we have reviewed the report. We've made our recommendations on the sealing request. I believe that the division agrees with the requests that we have made, and they comply with the Act, and we would ask that the sealing request be granted.
Division?
Division has reviewed the sealing request and has no objection to Golden Nugget's petition as submitted.
Thank you. Commissioner Cooper, do you have any questions regarding the sealing request?
No, I don't.
If there's nothing further, I move Exhibit D1 into evidence, granting petitioner's sealing request. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Are there any other procedural matters to be brought to our attention at this time? Hearing none. I'm sorry.
No.
Hearing none, we are now set for opening statements, which parties may waive and elect instead to proceed directly to testimony. Counsel, what is your preference?
Chairman, I would just like to state that, first of all, both on behalf of myself and my client, we appreciate very much the commission having this special meeting. We recognize it is the day before Thanksgiving. This is the first step in a series of steps in order to effectuate this transaction. Deputy Attorney General Thompson has been very accommodating with this and has been great help through this process, particularly General Counsel has also been very, very helpful here. And we just wanted to say thank you to everyone. That being said, I don't believe that there's a necessity for an opening. And given that it is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we can proceed right to testimony unless the division has anything to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Division?
Division does have an opening to present.
Thank you.
Today, the Commission is considering the request of petitioners Golden Nugget Online Gaming LLC, which I'll refer to as GNOG, and casino licensee Golden Nugget Atlantic City LLC, which I'll refer to as GNAC, to approve a series of transactions which will allow GNAC's indirect holding company, Landry's Fertitta LLC, to monetize a significant portion of GNAC's internet gaming operation. This request is brought to the Commission in the midst of a health crisis that substantially affected brick-and-mortar gaming operations and dramatically increased the revenues of internet gaming operations like GNAC's. The petition is submitted by petitioners, raises policy concerns due to the nature of the relief sought, and the division has filed its report with the Commission, which contains a detailed financial stability analysis, which addresses related issues, all of which, in the division's view, must be addressed by petitioners. There are long-term financial implications to the proposed transaction that must be weighed and addressed, particularly in light of the ongoing COVID-19 health crisis. Significant economic interests in the internet gaming operation will be severed from GNAC's ownership chain. As the commission is well aware, internet gaming exists in New Jersey to benefit and enhance Atlantic City casino gaming. Today, petitioners must show that the proposed transactions are not antithetical to the role of internet gaming as envisioned by the legislature and assuage concerns regarding the separation of Golden Nugget's brick and mortar gaming from its internet gaming operations. Although online gaming operations exist solely to enhance GNAC's casino operation, as of April 2020, GNAC can no longer rely directly on the EBITDA contributions from the online operation to offset its operational losses stemming from the COVID-19 health crisis, or otherwise rely on those cash flows. The transaction will also place additional financial burdens upon the online operations of GNOG, as a substantial portion of its sources of cash will be used to reduce the balance of the term loan under which the full original proceeds went to a holding company, Golden Nugget LLC, or GN. GNOG would then be responsible to fund interest payments for a portion of a remaining term loan that arguably should be paid by GN. Additionally, based on the forecast, the New Jersey operations expect to subsidize the anticipated operational losses from the new jurisdictions of Pennsylvania and Michigan, 2021 and 2022. These various elements of the transaction, as proposed, present issues that must be addressed. Accordingly, it will be incumbent upon GNOG and its representatives to provide clear and convincing evidence to the Commission that the granting of a casino license to GNOG in connection with the proposed transaction is best for the interests of GNAC, GNOG, and the public policies of the Act, particularly given the clear legislative intent associated with the legalization of internet gaming and sports wagering. Petitioners will be presenting testimony, and with that information, along with the division's report, the division anticipates that you will have sufficient information on which to determine the request for relief in this matter.
Thank you. Mr. Angelini, your first witness, please.
Thank you, Chairman. We would like to call Thomas Winter.
Good morning.
Mr. Nance, could you
One second,
swear
Mr.
in Mr. Winters?
Mr. Chairman, let me just
I'm
make
sorry.
sure. Darlene, are you picking up Dylan?
He's very faint.
Okay. Dylan, my understanding is that you're coming in and out a little bit every now and then. Are you on via cell phone?
Yes.
Okay, the option is for you to call into the line. We will lose you via video, but that may be a clearer connection. My only concern is I want to make sure that the court reporter can transcribe you.
Or move closer to your speaker.
Okay. You want to try that first? Move closer to your phone?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Does it still go on in and out?
It sounds better. I guess Darlene, if you'll just interrupt us at any point that you have concerns about being able to transcribe, but
Certainly.
we'll go ahead and proceed as with Dylan moving closer to the phone.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And Chairman, Dave Rebuck on the call. So I'm on video. Dylan, I think, is in the same building on a different floor. So if there are communication problems, can Darlene verify? Are you hearing me well now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So Dylan, if there are problems with your communication, come to my office. You can sit in here and I will depart the office and go to a different office. Okay?
Thank you, Director. Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Okay, I'm going to go back to mute.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Nance, could you swear in Mr. Winters, please?
Mr. Winters, would you please state your name for the record?
My name is Thomas Winter.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Thomas. Would you
Morning,
please,
Pat.
would you please state for the record, you've already given your full name, would you please state where you live and your position with Golden Nugget Online Gaming LLC, which we will refer to occasionally as GNOG.
Yes, I live in Houston, Texas, and I'm the president of GNOG.
Are you also an officer of GNOG Holdings LLC, LHGN Holdco LLC, and Lancadia Holdings II Inc.? And if so, what are your titles with those entities?
Yes, I am, and I'm the president of these entities.
Of each of those entities?
Yes.
Would you please briefly describe your background for the commission?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm 46. I'm originally from France. I graduated from ESSEC Business School in France. Got an MBA there. I worked for about 10 years in Paris, first in the telecommunication industry, working for an internet service provider, and then in the sports media industry, where I held different positions, including marketing and sales director. Then I moved on to taking the role of chief operating officer of an online sports betting and online gaming operator called BetClick, headquartered in London in the UK. So I was CEO of BetClick, which then I merged with another online gaming and sports betting operator called Expect.com. And subsequently, I became the chief executive officer of these two operators. Then I left that company, worked for a bit on a startup project. And then I went to sit as a director of the board of two companies, one being the leading horse racing, media and betting company in France, and another one being the online gaming arm of the Daily Mail Group in the UK. I did also some consultancy work for the online gaming industry, and one of my clients in the US was Golden Nugget. And in summer 2013, the Golden Nugget offered me to move to the US to their headquarters in Houston, Texas, and set up and manage their online gaming division that was about to launch its commercial operations in December 2013 in New Jersey, and I've been with the Golden Nugget ever since.
Thank you. The Lancadia Holdings II Inc., which we will refer to as Lancadia, is a publicly traded company, correct, currently?
Yes, that's correct.
Would you please just briefly describe the transaction that will place GNOG as a subsidiary of Lancadia?
Yes, so assuming that all the approvals are obtained today, Golden Nugget Online Gaming Inc., GNOG Inc., which is the current operator of the Golden Nugget branded online gaming site and mobile application, we will merge into GNOG LLC. And thereafter, Landry's Fertitta will transfer GNOG's parent, which is GNOG Holdings LLC, to LHGN Holdco LLC, which is a direct subsidiary of Lancadia, pursuant to the terms of the purchase agreement.
Thank you. Would you please briefly describe what GNOG Inc. currently does and what GNOG will do?
So GNOG operates the online gaming business that is operating under the Golden Nugget brand. Today that's in New Jersey. And GNOG moving forward will keep doing that in New Jersey, but will also expand to new jurisdictions, starting with Pennsylvania and Michigan next year.
Thank you. At the conclusion of the transaction that you've described, will GNOG continue to maintain its presence in New Jersey?
Well, yes, so we will maintain our main offices at the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City, and we will of course continue to employ staff out of this office. So today we have about 168 employees in total at GNOG, and 150 of them are actually based in Atlantic City. So that would be about 120 people in our live dealer studio. And then we have about 30 people across customer service, risk, fraud, payment operations, compliance, and accounting.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the shared services agreement between GNOG and GNAC? And if so, could you please describe its purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a number of shared service agreements with GNAC, LLC that will include the audit and compliance committees, the use of the internal auditor and the compliance officer of GNAC, but also the equal employment and business opportunity plan, as well as the equal employment officer. And in addition, GNAC will use GNAC iGaming internal controls. We'll also use some stuff from GNAC when it comes to IT security, but also more specifically for the live dealer studio, table game director, surveillance, and security.
Have you reviewed the division's report dated November 12, 2020, and more specifically the conditions requested at the end of that report?
Yes, I have.
And do you accept those conditions if imposed in connection with the issuance of the GNOG Internet Gaming Affiliate Casino license?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Chairman.
Thank you. Division?
Mr. Winter, good morning.
Good morning.
You started with GNAC in 2014, correct?
2013. Yeah, 1st of January, my first employment day was 1st of January 2014 after I got my work permit to work in the US, yes.
And 2014 was GNAC's first successful year of online gaming operations in New Jersey, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And online gaming associated with GNAC saw a significant rise in the first 6 months of 2020, correct?
Yes.
Has internet gaming results helped offset the losses experienced by GNAC's brick and mortar operation during the operation restrictions imposed as a result of COVID-19?
Well, I would say that GNAC success or profits, and especially during that period, has helped the Golden Nugget enterprise as a whole. Just like the Golden Nugget enterprise made GNAC possible in the first place in 2014. At that time, we needed about a $10 million credit line to start this operation. Most operators did not believe that much in iGaming, to be honest, and we managed to build a successful business because the Golden Nugget enterprise funds were available to risk that money. But yes, during the pandemic, at some point, GNAC was pretty much the only business up and running in the whole Golden Nugget enterprise across restaurants and casinos. So you could argue that this helped the whole business, yes.
And GNAC will obtain no benefits from any online gaming revenue following approval of this transaction, correct?
No, I wouldn't say that. Absolutely not, because one, Golden Nugget enterprise again will retain over 50% ownership in the business, and as we expand that business, we will increase the equity value for Golden Nugget. That's one, and two, we will pay moving forward a percentage of our revenues as a brand royalty to use the Golden Nugget brand. And if you look at it 5-10 years from now, it could be very significant amounts. And the last point I would say about that is, as part of that transaction, as you mentioned before, we will get rid of half of the 300 million debt that was contracted in April, really at the peak of the pandemic. So right now the situation is, absent that transaction, we are sitting with that $300 million debt, which comes up with a $40 million a year in interest expense. Post the transaction, we will have half of that debt, and GNOG will only support roughly half of the interest of that remaining debt. So,
But my specific question was regarding the revenue of the online gaming portion, whether GNAC will benefit from the online gaming revenue.
yeah, actually it will, because we will pay, and that's public information, 3% of our net gaming revenue as a royalty to Golden Nugget.
GNOG has plans to expand its online gaming operations to other jurisdictions in the next year, such as Pennsylvania and Michigan, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And it's expected that those jurisdictions will start off slowly, correct?
Well, start off slowly. Can you?
Are they expected to generate significant amount of revenue?
Well, of revenue, we are hoping that they will. Well, I believe that they will ramp up quicker than our initial ramp up in New Jersey. So if you look at New Jersey, the first year, the online gaming revenue in the state were about $100 million. And if you look at Pennsylvania, of course, accelerated by the pandemic, it will be north of $500 million. And in Michigan, I would expect the first year for the whole market to be probably north of $200 million. So we will probably ramp up our own revenues, assuming that we are targeting the same market share quicker than in New Jersey. In terms of profitability, of course, just like in New Jersey, we lost like about $7 million before breaking even and then starting to make money. That is going to be the same thing in each and every new market, because the way it works is that you invest in your infrastructure, in marketing, you are paying your new customers up front, and the value of these players comes back over a number of years. So that is the way it works, that is the way it worked in New Jersey and the way it should work elsewhere.
So just to be clear, you're not expecting that the online gaming operations, I mean, the new jurisdictions, they're not going to be profitable at the start, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
And it's expected that GNOG will utilize its successful operations in New Jersey to offset the startup costs associated with those new jurisdictions?
Well, we intend to use both the profits generated in New Jersey and the cash on hand that we will get from the transaction from being public, which would be around $80 million at start, to fund these startup losses. Let's call them this way. But just to be clear, we made the decision to operate in Pennsylvania and Michigan prior to even considering that transaction and going public. So that would have been the case no matter what.
No further questions for this witness.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Angelini, did you have redirect?
No, Chairman, thank you.
Commissioner Cooper, any questions for the witness?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Winter.
Good morning.
Thank you for participating and being with us today. I do have a couple questions for you. And my first is regarding marketing. So with this new online gaming for you, how will you be marketing the online with your brick and mortar, if you even intend to do that? Are you going to be marketing the two together? Is it going to be separate? And back to, if you're gonna market the two together, is there gonna be cross-marketing between the online and your property here in Atlantic City? Can you share some of your plans and objectives with us?
No, absolutely, and I think that that's a very, very valid question. The short answer to that is that nothing will change compared to the current situation post the transaction when it comes to advertising. And if anything, because we'll have a stronger balance sheet, we will be able to invest even more when it comes to marketing, specifically in New Jersey. We are offering online gaming, that is online casino services, but also online sports betting. And we are actually about to upgrade our sports product to a brand new and we believe better product. And in 21, we will start advertising that product on top of advertising our online casino. So next year, we are planning to invest even more in advertising in New Jersey than what we did even this year. And what's, I think, important in what you say in your question is that online gaming benefits land-based gaming when it's the same brand used, both land-based and online. And a big part of that is that online gaming will promote the brand through its own advertising and bring to gaming a new generation of players. So an average patron in our land-based casino is around 57-year-old. In our online casino would be about 42-year-old. And what we've seen in the past is that about 5-6% of our online players will at some point convert cross-sell to our land-based casino and therefore bringing new players. To give you an idea, this year we will be spending in New Jersey over $15 million in advertising. When Golden Nugget Atlantic City this year is very specific, but other years we would spend probably a couple of $1 million to promote the brand. So we will keep advertising our online gaming properties that will in turn promote our land-based property. We are even in our advertising showing the exterior and interior of our property in Atlantic City, and after that we encourage our our online players to come and play with us in Atlantic City, and that will not change.
Okay, my next question, and again, I don't mean to be, how do I say, nosy or presumptuous, but you mentioned you came from France.
Yes.
To Texas. Have you been to the Atlantic City property?
Oh yeah, I've been so many times.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to check. So my next question is, so again, the focus that I'm picking, of course, that we're here for today is the online gaming. With that being said, has any money been designated, put aside to, shall we say, I mean, the Golden Nugget Atlantic City looks beautiful, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful property, but I just want to make sure that you're not going to be, shall we say, neglecting the Atlantic City property. And with that being said, has any money been allocated, put aside for the enhancement, the continued enhancement and beautification of the Atlantic City property? To keep the two, I'm going to say, like, to keep the two of them, I don't want to say they're competitors, but you've got online gaming, you've got those people that like brick and mortar. I just want to make sure they're both going to be properly, there's going to be attention on both.
Sure. So when it comes to GNAC specifically, I think Mr. Rick Lim would be probably better suited to answer your question, but still, I will say that we were the first operator and brand to bring a product called Live Dealer to New Jersey and actually to the US. And in order to do that, so live dealer is when you are playing from your phone or computer against real dealers. So you have real, let's say, roulette table, blackjack tables with real dealer in front of a camera that are based in our studio at our casino in Atlantic City, and you can play on your phone. And back in 2015, 16, when we wanted to do that, the market was probably too small, and most service providers in that field didn't want to invest and build a studio. They say it would be too expensive and with too low a return on investment. So we made the decision to make that investment, to build a studio. It cost us about $1 million to hire some people, dealers, supervisors, and today we have that big studio that we expanded a couple of years ago with 18 tables operating 24/7, and we have over 120 jobs created in that studio. Next year, we are planning to expand even further that studio. So we will keep making that investment, and it's going to be a GNOG investment. So that's just one example, but for anything else related to GNAC, I will defer to Mr. Lim.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you.
For right now, thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Thank
Winters,
you.
to follow up on Commissioner Cooper's question, what percentage of online gamblers end up coming to the brick and mortar?
So I cannot give you an answer industry-wise, but in our case, it's about 6%.
I'm sorry, 6%?
Yes.
Now, has that number increased over the last number of years, or has that been stagnant?
I'm not sure about that. The last time I checked, it was 6%. It was about 18 months ago, so I would need to look at the data and get back to you.
Well, the online gaming has increased dramatically year to year, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that would correlate with an increase of people coming to the brick and mortar, because that 6% would increase in number year to year.
Yes, I would definitely assume so. We are, of course, still in the middle of a pandemic, but I am definitely expecting the growth of online gaming in general, which was $462 million in gross gaming revenue last year, and should be close to $900 million this year, which is absolutely amazing. I'm very confident that it will translate into land-based properties in Atlantic City benefiting in the years to come.
What kind of promotions do you do now to get people to come to the brick and mortar?
Well, the first thing, and I will get back to advertising. So if you, most of our TV commercials showcase our land-based property, and that, of course, is the best promotion you can do is just to show the property and the excitement and the vibrant atmosphere and how nice it is, because as you know, GNAC is a property very well maintained. So that's the first thing, and then we have, give you an example, regular promotions, but just to give you one, in December we have what we call a VIP shop, where we are giving away a gift for our most loyal players, and part of that is in the form of like vacation packages at our casino in Atlantic City. We also have some invitations of our players to slot tournaments that happen in Atlantic City through Sportsbook. We are promoting our retail sportsbook on property. So, at the end of the day, you don't get to decide for the player, for the patrons, whether they should play online or play in a casino, and it works both ways. So we are promoting our online property to our land-based players, but a number of these land-based players are not interested in playing online, and that's fine. What they are looking after is a social entertainment experience. They come with friends, and they will want to gamble, but also attend a show, have a drink, a good dinner, and likewise, some online players are just considering online gaming as a pastime that competes in their digital entertainment time with the likes of Netflix or social gaming like Candy Crush. So you cannot decide or force patrons to do what they don't want to do, but it's very likely that if you are an online patron and you play online table games or slots, at some point you will want to be in a land-based casino.
So to go back to my original question, what promotional programming are you doing other than that random vacation to come to Atlantic City to get people to come to the brick and mortar?
Well,
do you have any specific, like if you gamble $1,000 online, you get a free night in Atlantic City? Do you have anything similar to that?
Well, it's not exactly done this way in our case, but it could be. Yeah, we could do something like that.
Okay. So to circle back, right now there is no cross-pollination or cross-promoting of the brick and mortar and the internet?
It's there is no let's say automated system-based cross-pollination.
My next question, Mr. Winter, you said earlier that you have roughly 168 employees involved as we speak.
Yes, that's correct.
And you said 160 of them are in Atlantic City?
150.
Okay. Is that number going to increase if we grant you permission today?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, it should, because we have in Atlantic City, so we have our live dealer studio staff who will hopefully keep increasing, especially as we do our studio expansion. And then we have mostly compliance, accounting, customer service, and payment operations. So customer service and payment operations, for instance, is about 40% of our staff, if you exclude the live dealer studio. And if allowed by some other jurisdictions like Pennsylvania, Michigan, where we will operate next year, if these jurisdictions allow us to have employees based out of state, and in these cases, this is the case for Michigan, for instance, we intend to have all our customer service and payment functions performed by the same team from the same location. So in our customer service and payment operations team, we are expecting to increase our staff by about 50% in the next 18 months, and that should be in Atlantic City. And we have actually already started, because Michigan is just weeks away from launch. We've started to add more people in accounting and compliance and customer service based out of Atlantic City.
So roughly you have 160 now, and you're estimating that you're going to increase that by 50%?
No, the 50% would be on customer service and payment. So that would be another 10 people probably by within 18 months as a minimum, that I would see as an increase due to these new states, but it doesn't factor in the growth that we are also expecting to see in Atlantic City. So or in New Jersey. So I would say next year on that team, across the board, we could have between 10 and 15 new staff. And when it comes to our live dealer studio, I would expect probably another potentially 15, 20 people based on our growth projections for New Jersey.
And you're planning on leaving those 160 in Atlantic City, even with the growth in Michigan and Pennsylvania?
100%.
They're staying in Atlantic City, those positions?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Commissioner Cooper, did you have any other questions?
Not right now.
Not at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Council, if they have any questions.
Council, any follow-up questions from Mayan or Commissioner Cooper's?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Gara, your next witness?
Yeah, Richard Leam, please.
I'm here.
Mr. Nance, could you swear in the witness, please?
Mr. Lynn, would you please state your name for the record?
Richard Leam.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Leam. How are you?
I'm good, Mr. O'Gara.
By whom were you employed and in what position, Rick?
So my primary, my primary employer is Golden Nugget LLC. I have positions throughout the organization with our various entities, but it all stemmed from Golden Nugget LLC.
And Golden Nugget LLC, which is one of a number of companies which are described and cited in the DG report, is that the primary vehicle through which operations in casinos and restaurants are conducted by your enterprise?
That is correct.
And can you give us some idea at Golden Nugget LLC, how many casinos does Golden Nugget LLC own and operate?
We have 5 Golden Nugget casinos.
And
In Las Vegas, we have one in Laughlin, we have one in Biloxi, one in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and of course, one in Atlantic City.
And you also operate a significant number of restaurants under the Landry's umbrella, is that correct?
That's correct. We have about 458 full-service restaurants and another 50, 60 or so limited service.
And who owns Golden Nugget LLC?
Tillman Fertitta owns 100% of Golden Nugget LLC.
And likewise through, and does he own that through a company called Fertitta Entertainment?
Correct.
And likewise, does Mr. Fertitta own interests in other things, notably a sports team also that he owns 100% of through?
He does own 100% of the Houston Rockets and a myriad of other businesses and properties through Fertitta Entertainment.
But in terms of casinos and restaurants and what he's most associated with in Atlantic City, where there's not a lot of Rockets fans probably, it's Golden Nugget LLC that is the entity through which he owns and operates those facilities.
That's correct.
And were you with the company when Mr. Fertitta acquired then Trump Marina in 2011?
Yes, I was.
And can you give us some idea of what the condition was of what you acquired?
So I think the way Tillman described it was, it has good bones, but it was quite decrepit. It was, had no money spent on it. It had no database of players. It was owned, I think, by a private equity company who didn't understand the casino business at all. And it was, to Tillman's eyes, an opportunity to expand the brand of Golden Nugget in one of the most storied gaming markets in the history of U.S. gaming, which is Atlantic City.
And following that acquisition, was there an initial complete redo and injection of capital expense into that property?
Absolutely. I think we spent probably $180 million in renovating the rooms, redoing the entire exterior, redoing the entranceway. You had the feeling of a grand entrance, the VIP room, the check-in. It was the pool, the upper deck where you could now have a fire pit or when it was cooler in Atlantic City and still enjoy the outdoors. So it was a massive renovation resulting in what you have today.
And after that renovation, was there a period of time in which Golden Nugget Atlantic City was not a cash flow positive or profitable entity in Mr. Fertitta's holdings?
That is correct. There were dark days, I think, in 11, 12, and 13, and the Golden Nugget City was cash flow negative, despite, that's not counting the capital expenditures. That's on an operating level, it was cash flow negative, funded by the enterprise.
And during those times, Golden Nugget continued to market and build its business. And how was that funded, Mr. Lee?
By the enterprise.
That would be the enterprise Golden Nugget LLC that it's owned by Mr. Fertitta.
Correct.
Now, in the transaction we're talking about today, Golden Nugget Online Gaming, Inc. Is an enterprise. Is that also owned by Tillman Fertitta?
Yes, it is.
And it's going to convert to an LLC and be, through a merger transaction, become part of a public company. First of all, with respect to that public company, Mr. Leem, in terms of voting control, if this transaction is approved and when it closes, who will control that public company?
Tillman Fertitta will have 79.9% of the voting power of GNOG as a public company.
And with respect to the economics, what economic share of that company will Mr. Fertitta own?
He's depending on whether people redeem or don't redeem, which is unlikely given the stock price today. I would say he's 54, 55% of them.
So he'll be the controlling shareholder, not only through his voting rights, but he'll be the economically controlling shareholder of the company.
That's correct.
Now, if you look at page 16 of the DG report, and I assume you've had a chance to examine the DG report.
That's correct.
There's a sources and uses of cash, a pro forma table, and it talks about the cash from this transaction. And it says there's sources of cash of $676 million and uses of $676. And the first is this value of equity issued. That's in fact a number which is assigned to the stock that's being transferred and the interest in the new company which Mr. Fertitta is receiving, correct?
Correct.
There's no cash involved in there, right?
Correct.
And there's also a term loan repayment of $150 million. What that term loan, which was Mr. Winter discussed, who's the obligor on that term loan, Mr. Leem?
GNOG is the obligor under that term loan. All $300 million.
For $300 million. And that term loan was obtained somewhat near the outset of this entire COVID crisis. Is that correct?
That's correct, April 28th.
And in large measure, was that term loan a prospective effort by the company to assure that it had sufficient liquidity to get through what was it then a crisis of unknown duration?
Absolutely. I mean, what Tillman knows well, because he's gone through the real estate crisis with savings loan in Texas, he went through the .com, he went through 08 and 09 and the great financial recession, and now in the pandemic. The one thing that will get companies into trouble, if they're good, solid companies, is a lack of liquidity. There was no telling what this pandemic was going to do when we were in a position of going to get that loan. And so it's like an insurance policy.
All right, and that money was obtained, and GNOG's the obligor. And is that loan also guaranteed by Golden Nugget LLC?
Yes,
And likewise by its operating companies, including GNAC and Golden Nugget
Yes, it is.
Lake Charles and all of the others?
yes,
So this term loan repayment of $150 million is a $150 million obligation of GNOG, which will be satisfied, correct?
correct.
With the concomitant reduction in the cost of that money and the interest expense, correct?
Correct.
And the guarantors, who are not the primary obligors, but their guarantee is released by that much too. So it's down to $150 million.
Correct.
And the balance of the costs involve a cash payment to Landry's Fertitta, transaction and accrued interest costs, and debt premium fees. Can you just, for the benefit of the commissioners, tell them what debt premium fees are?
So when you issue a loan, there's oftentimes a penalty, a prepayment penalty, or a prepayment premium associated with paying the loan off early. And in this case, the premium was roughly $56 million. But in negotiating with the lender group, the company issued a tender offer, and 150 plus million of the lenders tendered at a premium of 116, so 16 cents per dollar above, and that's the 24 million.
So what this was, a fee paid to the lenders to prepay this because they weren't going to be having the interest that they might have otherwise received over the term of the loan, right? It was their bargain.
That's correct.
Now, following this transaction, and if it's approved, the division report has indicated that they had some questions about the loss of direct revenues from the online operations of GNOG, and that it might have some effect on Golden Nugget. With respect to Golden Nugget Atlantic City, presently, you're familiar with their financial position, I assume, right?
Yes.
Are you satisfied? Do you have sufficient liquidity there and sufficient liquidity available to them to deal with however long this crisis may continue until we have an effective vaccine?
Yes, I am. Remember, Golden Nugget Atlantic City is part of the enterprise. It doesn't stand by itself. So in times of Golden Nugget needing support, like 11, 12, and 13, the rest of the enterprise supports Golden Nugget and vice versa. So it's if the Golden Nugget Atlantic City were to go down, Golden Nugget LLC is going down.
And likewise, the same would be for Golden Nugget Atlantic City and Golden Nugget Las Vegas to support Golden Nugget Lake Charles if it had suffered even more damage than it did during the hurricane. Is that right?
That's exactly correct. It's one business, one owner.
Single enterprise.
Correct.
In terms of conditions that the division recommended, they wanted to be certain that there would be adequate liquidity available to GNAC, and they'd have an adequate cash position, and they've proposed a condition that it have $20 million in cash, either in the facility or available through a credit line. Does Golden Nugget Atlantic City obviously has its cash on hand, there's cash in the cage. Do they have access to 20 million or more in a credit line that's available to GN LLC?
Yes, we put Tom Pullman on the revolver yesterday.
And so he will have access to that money in an unfettered fashion, correct?
Correct. Takes 2 approvals to do a release of money from the credit line, but he's now one of those.
Now, I want to continue along the lines with Golden Nugget Atlantic City. And at present, does Golden Nugget Atlantic City operate in the vernacular profitably? That is it cash flow positive right now?
It did for the third quarter. It was positive by itself. And the expectation is that will continue to be positive cash flow.
And with respect to its relationship with its vendors and the people who service it, are they current right now with respect to their outstanding payables?
They are. Current is, we may have agreements with vendors that extend the terms a little bit, but we have made our payments on a timely basis, as we have historically, as we did in 2011, 2012, and 2013.
So because of the size of your enterprise and the fact that you deal with vendors on a regional and national basis, you may have terms that are better than 30 days. You may have specific terms with certain suppliers, but in keeping with those terms, you have no issue with respect to Golden Nugget payables. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, the facility itself, Golden Nugget Atlantic City, since the initial investment, has there been regular investment made both on projects and maintenance capital expenditures to maintain that property since Mr. Petito acquired it?
Yes. One of his axioms is there's no deferred maintenance. So he strongly believes that having an attractive and welcoming facility is important to maintaining and growing a business. So we have always maintained all of the properties.
And in terms of doing that, and have you recently had a couple of projects that you can point out to us, either with respect to the marina or the suites, or what is it you've done in the last couple of years that are significant projects that the commissioner should be aware of in terms of your maintenance and capital expenditures at the property?
So we've been repairing the parking garage, and we've been renovating the marina, and then we have continually invested in the slot product on the floors.
All right, now, if I can turn back to something that Mr. Winter spoke about, but I think you can talk about as well. The division in its report talks about new GNOG and its forecasted revenues over the next 3 years, and it shows growth of EBITDA in New Jersey for the online gaming, and it shows Pennsylvania and Michigan, and there's far less revenue and far less EBITDA. Is this something that you would anticipate when you enter a new market, such as Pennsylvania or Michigan?
Yes.
And based on what you saw in New Jersey, do you anticipate that after an initial ramp up that there will be growth and positive EBITDA from these new markets?
Yes. Faster, I believe, than in New Jersey, because now the business is maturing a little bit. People understand it. There's less concern about the black box of the internet. The geolocation is far superior to what it was when we started. And the offerings are much broader than when we started. So it's a better product. It's a better experience. I think it's going to catch on much quicker in the new jurisdictions.
Mr. Leem, is there any reason for you to think that the GNOG product that is being offered in these other jurisdictions will not be as successful as it has been in the competitive marketplace in New Jersey?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Now, at the conclusion of its report, the Division of Gaming Enforcement has recommended that in conjunction with any approval, the commission impose certain conditions. Have you had a chance to take a look at those conditions?
I have.
And would Golden Nugget be able to, and in fact, comply with those conditions if in fact the division chose to impose them?
Yes, we can comply, we will comply. In fact, I think that we always have complied with maintaining the property, paying our vendors, and taking care of our business. That's what Tillman does. That's why he's been as successful as he's been.
All right. Thank you. I don't have any further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Gara. Mr. Thompson, your witness.
Thank you. Earlier this year, Golden Nugget Online Gaming, Inc. took out a term loan for $300 million, correct?
That's correct.
And the purpose of the $300 million term loan, I believe you mentioned, was to provide liquidity to GN during the COVID-19 pandemic, correct?
Correct.
And so the proceeds of that $300 million, GNOG lent all $300 million to GN through its affiliates, correct?
Correct.
And the proceeds were lent on substantially the same terms as the original $300 million term loan, correct? And therefore, the interest payments under the term loan are currently being funded through an equal amount of interest received by GNOG under its loan to GN, correct?
So the interest amounts to that loan are subject to the cash available at GNOG. And should GNOG have a sufficient cash available, it reduces the payment from GN on that interest.
And the transaction includes a partial repayment of the term loan, correct?
That's correct.
And the remaining balance of the term loan would be $150 million, correct?
Correct.
And there will be around $19.8 million in annual interest expenses on the remaining term loan, correct?
Okay.
And GN will pay only $9 million of that $19 million annual interest expenses post-transaction, correct?
Correct.
And the remaining $10.8 million will be paid by GNOG, correct?
Correct.
Even though GNOG did not receive any of the original proceeds, correct?
That's correct.
All the term loan proceeds will remain at GN.
Correct.
And you mentioned in your direct that GN is one business, that all of its entities such as Golden Nugget, Atlantic City, and Lake Charles, they're all considered interconnected, correct?
Correct.
But didn't Tillman Fertitta around 2012, 2014 mention publicly that he was willing to sell Golden Nugget Atlantic City?
Well, he could have. He is a man that won't turn down discussions regardless, but I think you can see that where we are today is Golden Nugget Atlantic City remains in the family.
You mentioned that
And
Golden
it
Nugget
continues
Atlantic,
to be supported.
you mentioned that Golden Nugget Atlantic City originally when it first started off was in rough shape, I believe was the term used.
It was in very poor physical condition and very poor operational condition.
Very poor operational condition. And didn't Tillman Fertitta then state that he was willing to sell the Golden Nugget Atlantic City brick and mortar operation because he was dissatisfied with that, with how it was performing?
Yeah. You know what? If there was something said in 2012, I don't recollect it.
Okay.
What I can tell you is Golden Nugget Atlantic City was cash flow negative for several years, and all that cash flow negative was supported by the enterprise and Tillman Fertitta personally. So regardless of what may have been said, the facts speak for themselves as far as his commitment to Atlantic City.
But you would agree, though, that if Atlantic City brick and mortar operations start to decline again, that it is possible that Tillman Fertitta could possibly sell it? I mean, that is a possibility, is it not?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility he could sell everything.
Okay. Was Lancadia Holdings 2 formed for the purpose of effectuating a merger acquisition or similar business combination with one or more businesses?
Correct.
Was it known upon formation that GNOG would be the acquired business?
No.
Are the sponsors of Lancadia Holdings 2 Fertitta Entertainment, Inc. and Jefferies Financial Group?
Yes.
And just to be clear for the record, Fertitta Entertainment, Inc. is a qualified holding company of GNAC that is wholly owned by Mr. Fertitta, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Fertitta also serves as Lancadia's co-chairman and chief executive officer, correct?
Correct.
Did Lancadia Holdings 2 issue securities to the public?
Yes.
And were the $316.25 million in proceeds obtained from this offering placed into a trust account with those proceeds to be issued in conjunction with the acquisition of GNOG?
Correct.
And GNOG expects to expand its operation beyond New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
And GNOG anticipates that operation and losses totaling $27.2 million for Pennsylvania and Michigan operations in 2021, correct?
Okay.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. GNOG anticipates operating losses of $14.5 million for Pennsylvania and Michigan operations in 2022, correct?
Yes.
And GNOG's New Jersey internet gaming operation is expected to subsidize these anticipated operating losses for Pennsylvania and Michigan through 2022, correct?
In addition, with the cash available to GNOG,
Just to go into the numbers a little
it's
bit.
a business. It is a business. It's going to expand its markets and grow, and the business is going to support its own business.
Understood, but the substantial amount of the subsidizing is going to come from New Jersey's operations, correct?
Correct. Just like when it started in New Jersey, the support came from the enterprise.
And GNOG's cash balance is expected to decrease from the end of 2022 to the end of the end of 2020 to the end of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And the anticipated decrease is primarily due to expecting to subsidize the initial operating losses of Pennsylvania and Michigan, you said, correct?
Correct. And still maintain a very healthy cash balance.
So for the second quarter of 2020, did GNOG generate over $9 million in EBITDA for online operations?
Yes.
Well, for that same period, GNAC's land-based operations incurred an operating loss of over $6 million due to industry shutdown, correct?
The second quarter of
Second quarter of 2020.
Yeah. Yes.
As a result of the term loan transaction and the pending transaction, GNOG's online operations and associated economic benefits will be transferred to a publicly traded company, correct?
Yes. Let me remind you that on April 28th, with the approval of the loan agreement with GNOG and Golden Nugget LLC, GNOG was no longer, it had its own credit agreement. It was no longer able to fund third parties, regardless of whether they were affiliated or not. Right? So the money of GNOG was trapped in GNOG for the use of that term loan.
And after this transaction, GNOG would no longer be a revenue or EBITDA source for GNAC or its corporate chain, correct?
It will pay a royalty fee, and it will pay for shared services. It will not be consolidated within the, maybe consolidated, it won't be sharing its
Fair,
revenue.
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But to be fair, the shared service agreement, the payments for that just cover the cost to GNAC for those shared services, correct? They're not actually incurring a profit from that.
I would agree with you, they cover the cost. There are certainly synergies when you have one person doing tasks for 10 events or 10 processes versus 5, you still need that same person. So there's clearly synergies associated with that.
But in essence, though, GNAC would not be able to rely upon GNOG's operations for support, correct?
Correct. Subsequent to April 28th, that was true.
Okay. And you had mentioned you had a chance to review the division's report, correct?
Correct.
And you had a chance to review the proposed conditions?
Correct.
And will GNOG and GNAC be able to comply with those conditions?
Yes.
And you mentioned that Pullman was added as added to the GN revolver, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Will he have unfettered access to that revolver if
Well,
GNAC
so
requires?
just to understand, from an internal control perspective, no individual, no one person can draw on that revolver. It takes 2. And so Tom will be one of the 2 now, whereas prior to that, he had no ability to request a draw.
And who would be the other individuals on that?
I am 1, Susan Moore is 1, and Layla Pressinger is 1, and our treasurer.
So to be clear, then Pullman would need to receive permission from one of these individuals.
You would need to just see concurrence, that's it.
And if Pullman had a cash reserve at GNAC, would he require any of these individuals permission to pull on that?
Again, yes, you've got there's no one person that has unfettered access to funds in America today. Because think about the fraud that happens. Think about the issues associated with the the inadvertent wires that go out because somebody gets an email that's purported to come from the CEO and they say, oh, let me just go send it out. So this is the standard control process that every company has to have.
Okay. Just a moment. I don't believe the division has. Is it possible to have an additional person at GNAC's level added to that revolver who can pull for help, who can approve a pull?
The revolver, Tom has the ability to say, I need some money. And then he gets concurrence and we go do it. So there's nobody else in GNAC that's at that level.
Okay.
There's nobody, I mean, this is, I don't want my auditors to come and give me a material weakness because I don't have the proper controls around accessing funds.
I understand. But what I'm getting at is whether that proper control can also exist at the GNAC level. If there was a second individual there who could concur.
I think you're chasing something that doesn't need to be chased. Tom has the ability to go and say, we need money from the revolver. And we've told the bank that Tom has the ability to go ask for $20 million of the revolver. And then, if we get the request, we're certainly going to, look, in a way, what you're saying isn't all that practical because I can tell you that we're not going to not pay for the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. We always have. We always will. But he now has the ability to go in and say, I need up to $20 million of our revolving credit facility.
And you don't foresee any reason why that would be that request would be unreasonably withheld?
Correct.
Okay, no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Mr. O'Gara, redirect.
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Cooper, questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Liam, good morning, and thank you for participating here today with us.
Good morning, and I do want to reiterate Mr. Agnolini's appreciation for the commission doing this early for us and on the day before Thanksgiving. We do appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I do have a couple questions, and I emphasize with no disrespect to Mr. Winter's answers. I posed some questions before, and I would just like to see if you would like to add anything or elaborate upon those questions that I had asked earlier. And the first one I had asked was with marketing and cross-marketing. And again, Mr. Winter's answers were fine, but from your perspective, from your viewpoint, again, with the transaction that we're looking at today, with the internet gaming, with your brick and mortar, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm always concerned with marketing and cross-marketing. So with those two things, is there anything you would like to add or elaborate upon that will be, that you're planning to do?
So I would bring to your attention that when we started the online gaming, that Tillman was the one who required the Golden Nugget brick and mortar land-based casino to be in those commercials, because he clearly understood the synergies and the benefit that the brand itself would bring to the online gaming patron. Because the Golden Nugget brand is storied, it has great credibility, it has great recognition, and it gives people comfort that their money was going, there was something solid behind this online gaming business, which was the Golden Nugget. And we do have people come in, they do use the cage. And I think we attempt to do wherever we can, connect the online gaming, Golden Nugget online gaming to the Golden Nugget brand. And that's another synergy that will happen with the expansion into new states, where perhaps we don't have a brick and mortar, but those people travel to other brick and mortars, and the Golden Nugget brand gets more recognition, it gets more credibility, and I believe it will drive incremental revenues even in New Jersey, because people are going to just see it more. It's going to be a more powerful brand as it expands and gets marketed more often.
Interesting that you use powerful, very interesting there, thank you. And once again, I posed this earlier, and I know a few moments ago you did mention expenditures. You said the parking garage, they've been working on that, the marina, and some other things. And I believe initially when the Golden Nugget had the major transformation, I think I heard the figure 180 million, it could have been 150 million. Either way, it was a lot of money, which is fine. Where we are today, and again, keeping in mind the pandemic, the coronavirus, the world it's just it's been impacted. But my question to you is, with all things considered, do you have any additional plans for the brick and mortar property, any expansion plans for the casino, the hotel, in addition to what you mentioned with the parking garage and marina? Two very important areas, but anything else that you would like to add or can add to that question? And I'm going to say current time, or maybe in the next 3 to 5 years. Anything else that you can add?
Well, certainly in the next 3 to 5 years, which is an eternity in our world at Golden Nugget, I would expect that there would be another round of significant renovations at the property. We have expanded our business onto the deck. We've added incremental restaurants because, again, you get the synergies. We have only 700 rooms, and so we're smaller than many of our competitors. And we need other sources to drive traffic into the property. And so that's why the entertainment aspect and the restaurants on the deck and the branded restaurants in the casino have been very helpful in growing that business. So I don't think on the board there's a new tower at this time. I wouldn't, it's been discussed in the past. I think, today we need to get through this and keep the property in excellent condition, and then we'll see how it goes.
Okay. This next question, I know you stated earlier, or it was stated earlier, we have casinos in other states. I'm not saying pick your favorite child or but let's say with Atlantic City, what, in your opinion, again, your viewpoint, what makes the Atlantic City experience, the Atlantic City property, special, outstanding? A moment ago, I heard the word powerful, and that's an exciting word. Can you share with us maybe your personal long-term vision for Atlantic City? And again, what makes it so special and extraordinary? And again, I apologize for repeating, but again, I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but putting that aside for just a moment, if you can answer, again, long-term vision, what makes Atlantic City so special at this time?
So it's in the Marina District, which I believe is a very nice part of Atlantic City to have an entertainment venue. I think the Tillman's mantra is to deliver outstanding, excellent customer service. So one of the value points of Golden Nugget in Atlantic City is that the customers are welcome. They're taken very well care of. It's important to the staff. It's important to the business to remember that they have other opportunities to go somewhere else, and to make them welcome and make them want to come to the Golden Nugget. That includes having a facility that people are happy to go to, that they enjoy being at. That includes having food and beverage options that are attractive, that people enjoy, as well as having the games that people like to play, and dealers and staff that are helpful when it comes to taking care of those customers. To me, that's one of the aspects that makes the Golden Nugget, in every one of the Golden Nuggets, a very strong experience. And then I think the other thing we offer is we offer very high perceived value. So you can go to the Golden Nugget in any property and get this fabulous experience, and yet we are doing it at a cost that's very reasonable to the guest.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm good for right now.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you.
Mr. Lehman, if the proposed transaction goes forward today, Golden Nugget Online Gaming will be the only second publicly traded internet gaming company. Why did you choose this model for your online gaming and sports wagering operation?
So the primary benefit of being a public company in this industry, in my opinion, is access to capital. The growth opportunities are really significant. But as you can see with Michigan and Pennsylvania, the startup costs are also significant. So you need to have adequate access to capital to be able to grow and compete effectively in this nascent and very quickly growing industry, which I may say the state of New Jersey started. I mean, without the state of New Jersey implementing this in 2013, we would not be where we are from an industry perspective today. I think that the public company is the way that you can get access to incremental capital to compete with the other players in the business, many of which are much larger than us.
Thank you. My follow-up question then is, what was the purpose of forming Lacadia? Was it created solely to acquire your online gaming operations?
It was never even a thought of buying the online gaming business. It is a special purpose acquisition company. It was the second one that Tillman has formed, and the intent of that business is to go find a business that would be a good public company, but isn't public today. And it just so happened that the stars aligned, and frankly, DraftKings went public in April and rocketed from a stock price perspective that kind of opened up everybody's eyes to the value of an online gaming sports wagering business as perceived by Wall Street and investors. And that's really what kicked this off. Because frankly, if we would have thought about it, we wouldn't have borrowed the 300 million.
Thank you. Mr. Winters stated that there would be an increase in employees for this merger. Are you on the same page that they would be based in Atlantic City, or the majority of them would be based in Atlantic City?
Yeah, I think his growth plans contemplate incremental Atlantic City employees, and they do not contemplate any movement of existing Atlantic City employees out.
Excellent, excellent. What is your opinion? Do you see brick and mortar growth in the future, or do you see it totally internet-based growth in the industry?
In my opinion, they're synergistic. People like to see people. People like to go and not just sit in front of the computer. This pandemic has caused our behaviors to change, but we are a social species. I think they will continue to enjoy the social aspects of being in a casino, in the land. You know, some people aren't comfortable with computers. And so, no, I believe that they will grow concurrently and that synergistically, and that you will have the combination of online wagering with the brick and mortar land-based wagering that help each other.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Lehman. Thank you. Any follow-up from council?
No, sir.
Are there any, Division, do you have any witnesses?
No, the division has no witnesses. Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cooper, do you have any other follow-up questions for either, for the?
No, I don't, thank you.
At this time, we're going to recess for 20 minutes. So we'll return at 12:05. Yes.
If I can ask for reconsideration in terms of whether or not council wants to do closing statements before you recess,
Okay,
so
excellent.
that matter is dealt with in the event that they do want to do closing statements.
Excellent. Mr. O'Gara, you want to lead off with closing statements?
Mr. Agnolini, I'll defer to you.
Thank you. Chairman, Commissioner, we believe that we have addressed the concerns through the testimony. The testimony speaks for itself. We believe that we have satisfied the requirements for the requests that we have asked for the relief that we have asked for. And just quite simply, we would request that you approve the relief requested, issue the casino license, the internet gaming affiliate casino license, subject to the agreed upon conditions, and find that the entity is qualified as a financial source. Thank you.
Mr. O'Gara, are you going to make a statement?
Mr. Thompson,
From
Mr. Thompson, Dylan.
Yes.
Dylan.
Based upon the division's investigation, our position is that if the commission is inclined to grant the requested relief, the transaction should not be approved in the absence of strict conditions. The division has recommended such conditions with its filed report in this matter, and the credit line mentioned in today's testimony would not meet the requirements of condition number 6 as an unrestricted cash balance, as approval would be needed to be sought above GNAC to access those funds. And GNAC's counsel will need to address that. The transaction would deprive GNAC of the much-needed cash flow from the internet gaming on a permanent basis. It would utilize a significant portion of GNOG's economic value to distribute equity to its new owners, repay debt incurred on its behalf of its affiliates, fund a cash payment to Landry's Fertitta, and satisfy transaction costs, accrued interest, and debt premium payments. GNOG will have the financial burden of the remaining 150 million term loan, debt that it had no benefit to, as well as an obligation to fund a portion of the interest payments on that term loan. Finally, it places the negative effects of the anticipated unprofitable operations in other jurisdictions during the forecast period upon GNOG. At a moment when land-based operations in Atlantic City gaming industry are facing hardships due to COVID-19 health crisis, the transaction would be to the detriment of both GNOG and GNAC as the casino licensees for the benefit of GN's operation outside of New Jersey. GNAC as a casino hotel operation could no longer rely on GNOG's online business for support, and that may be harmed long-term based on the transaction, at least until such time as the current health crisis abates and sustained profitability returns. The division's recommended conditions are intended to enact protections for the brick and mortar operation meant to limit the negative effects of the transaction by ensuring, for example, GNAC has ready access to funds in the event of any operational shortfall, and that minimum thresholds of capital expenditure will continue in future years. To date, GNAC has generally complied with its financial obligations, and there have been no historical issues of real concern. Given the magnitude of the long-term financial impact of GNOG's transaction could have on GNAC, the division considers it critical on a going forward basis to recommend conditions to ensure the continued resources and improvements for the brick and mortar operations, without which GNOG would not be eligible to obtain the requested relief. Nothing further, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
And now I recommend, Mr. Chairman, 30 minutes.
Excellent. So it's 10 of 12, is that what we have? We'll reconvene at 12:20. So we'll have all the parties back at 12:20. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are back in session. If there are any comments on the draft resolution, do the parties consent to its adoption?
Yep, we have no comment.
Division has no comment as either.
And in the matter of condition 6, is that resolved?
Chairman, this is Pat. We've reviewed condition 6. We've spoken with the division. I've spoken with the client. We accept condition 6. We agree to comply with that condition. Our discussions around the conditions had involved using a line of credit. What has become apparent is that there is a need from a material weakness standpoint to have a second signature for draws on that line of credit. Obviously, it's a significant line of credit, so it requires a second signature. Our hope was to utilize Rick Leam, who's a Golden Nugget Atlantic City officer and a key employee, but he's not based in Atlantic City, and so we recognize that the division is, in order to use the line of credit, is requiring a second signature from someone based in Atlantic City. We are evaluating that, and we'll have to do that if we're going to utilize the line of credit in satisfying the condition. The only thing we have to do is make sure that there is an internal control weakness, and if there is, and we'll have to satisfy the condition in another fashion. But we accept the condition. We agree that we will comply with the condition, and if it involves a line of credit, we need a second signature that's local.
Thank you. Division, are you in agreement with that?
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
yes.
Mary Jo Flaherty, we are in agreement with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other matters that need to be brought to our attention? Hearing none. Under the Casino Control Act, a casino can offer internet gaming directly or through a fully licensed internet gaming affiliate. Golden Nugget Online Gaming Incorporated was formed in February 2011 under the name of Landry's AC Gaming Incorporated. It changed its name to Landry Finance Acquisition Company, and in April of 2020, it acquired the rights to host, manage, control, and operate Golden Nugget Atlantic City's internet gaming operation. Shortly thereafter, it's changed its name to Golden Nugget Online Incorporated. As part of the pending transaction, it will convert from its present status as a corporation into a limited liability company to be known as Golden Nugget Online Gaming, LLC. It will be a direct, wholly subsidiary of GNOC Holdings and an indirect subsidiary of Lancadia, a publicly traded special purpose acquisition company sponsored by Fertitta Entertainment, the parent company of Golden Nugget Atlantic City. The pending transaction forms the basis for the Golden Nugget Online Gaming's petition for casino licensure as an internet gaming affiliate. It will be acquired by Lancadia and Jeffries Financial Group Incorporated. Pursuant to the purchase agreement, Tillman Fertitta and his affiliates, primarily through Landry Fertitta, will receive Class B membership interest in the Lancadia Holding Company, representing economic interest in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. Class B common stock of Lancadia, representing the voting interest in Golden Nugget Online Gaming. $30 million cash consideration and repayment of $150 million of an existing term loan will be held by Golden Nugget Online Gaming. Upon consummation of the transaction, Tillman Fertitta will continue to be Lancadia's chairman and CEO. He will hold a controlling interest in Lancadia and will continue to own through subsidiaries 100% of Golden Nugget LLC, which in turn, through its subsidiaries, owns and operates 5 casinos under the Golden Nugget brand, including Golden Nugget Atlantic City, New Jersey. For the first full calendar year of internet gaming operations, Golden Nugget Atlantic City struggled, reporting only $10.8 million in gross gaming revenue for the year, the year 2014. In 2016, however, Golden Nugget Atlantic City online operations became profitable, generating significant revenue and EBITDA growth going forward. The addition of its online sports wagering operation in 2018 added positively to its cash flow. Capitalizing on the online market growth and implementing successful marketing strategies, Golden Nugget is now the market leader in its internet gaming and sports wagering operations. An important consideration in all casino licensing matters is the financial stability of the prospective casino licensee. In this case, Golden Nugget's online gaming operation have been extremely profitable. In fact, its online revenue nearly doubled during the first 6 months of this year. Undoubtedly, casino closures as a result of COVID-19 pandemic created increased focus on and interest on the online gaming market. In reviewing the pending petition, the division understandably raises concerns that going forward, Golden Nugget will promote and support its online operations at the expense of its Atlantic City casino hotel facility. In the very near future, it will be expanding its online operations to Pennsylvania, Michigan, and West Virginia. As was the case in New Jersey, those operations are projected to take several years before they yield positive revenue results. New Jersey fought long and hard through the courts to secure the rights to authorize internet gaming. It did so to put an end to illegal internet gaming markets, which diverted much-needed jobs and revenue to illegal operations in foreign jurisdictions. Equally as important, however, and as expressed in authorizing legislation, internet gaming was intended to assist in the rehabilitation and the development of the Atlantic City tourist and convention facilities by providing the casino operators with additional marketable amenities. To ensure that Atlantic City casino hotels would primarily benefit from the addition of internet gaming, the legislation requires that only a licensed casino hotel can hold a permit to offer internet gaming to the public. Platform providers and other internet gaming service providers may only participate in internet gaming operations through a contract with a casino hotel licensee. They must also separately submit to regulatory scrutiny as the industry service provider. Mr. Winter testified to Golden Nugget's current online gaming operations in great detail. He also shared Golden Nugget's visions for its internet and sports betting operations in the near and long term, including Atlantic City's role in that vision now and in the future. Mr. Leem, a longtime member of the Golden Nuggets executive team, outlined the pending transaction with Lancadia and its financial impact on the company. He reinforced Mr. Fertitta's commitment to Golden Nugget Atlantic City, New Jersey, and its single enterprise approach which ensure that the Atlantic City property is supported when needed. The division recommends that if we grant the requested casino license to the Golden Nugget online gaming, that we impose a number of conditions, many of which are aimed to ensure that Golden Nugget Atlantic City, New Jersey casino hotel remains financially stable and a first-class operation and a business priority. Given the impact of the pandemic and the general uncertainty throughout the industry, I understand the division's heightened concerns and will support the recommended conditions. I will note, However, that while there may continue to be variations in Golden Nugget's online gaming versus land-based gaming revenue, particularly as the industry as a whole works to recover from the impact of COVID, I am satisfied with the petitioner's assurances that they are committed to Golden Nugget Atlantic City's ongoing financial stability. I am pleased to hear there is an expectation for growth of the number of employees to be maintained in Atlantic City, as well as the future growth of land-based casino for online support, as well as in-person gaming. When Golden Nugget acquired the marina property in 2012, it invested over $180 million to refurbish and upgrade the property to truly make it a destination resort befitting of the Golden Nugget brand. I am convinced that Mr. Fertitta will protect Golden Nugget's brand of excellence and elegance, and will do so by supporting, maintaining, and ultimately growing the Atlantic City Casino Hotel facility. In a casino licensing matter, the Commission must determine whether officers, directors, principals, and key employees are suitable, as well as the qualification of the holding, intermediary, and subsidy companies. In this instance, the Commission previously qualified most of the entities and individuals involved with the Golden Nugget online gaming as part of the February 2012 licensing of Golden Nugget Atlantic City, or the November 2017 corporate restructuring. Others casino key employee licenses issued by the Commission have been issued temporary key licenses or temporary qualification by the Commission, or are pending temporary qualification today. Nothing has been presented which would give reason to deny qualification to any of the new entities before us today, or revoke the qualification and/or licensure of those entities and individuals who have already been seen before the Commission. Accordingly, based upon the consideration of the entire record of these proceedings, including the testimony today and the Division's report, which has been admitted into evidence as redacted, I am satisfied that the petitioners have met the standards for casino licensure of Golden Nugget Online Gaming LLC as an internet gaming affiliate. Therefore, I now move that the Commission adopt the draft resolution and grant a casino licensure to Golden Nugget Online Gaming LLC as set forth in the findings and rulings and subject to the conditions specified in the resolution. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote?
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
And Chairman Pelosi?
Yes.
Item number 2, which is related, is the joint petition of Golden Nugget Atlantic City LLC and Golden Nugget Online Gaming, Inc., requesting permission for G. Michael Stevens to assume the duties and exercise the powers of Director and Audit Committee member of Lancadia Holdings II, Inc., pending plenary qualification. That matter is PRN 225-2003.
Thank you, Counsel. Mr. Angelini?
Chairman, Commissioner, Pacifico Agnolini from Brownstein Hyatt Barber Schreck on behalf of the petitioners. Before you is a petition seeking the temporary qualification of G. Michael Stevens. We would ask that you approve that request and hear if you have any questions. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, representing the Division?
The Division has filed a letter report on November 13th, 2020, recommending that G. Michael Stevens be temporarily qualified to perform the duties and exercise the powers of Director of Lancadia Holdings II, and there's no objection.
Thank you. Commissioner Cooper, are there any questions for Counsel?
No questions, thank you.
Hearing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the draft resolution and authorize G. Michael Stevens on a temporary basis and prior to his plenary qualification to assume the duties and exercise the powers of Director and Audit Committee member of Lancadia Holdings II, Incorporated, in accordance with NJSA 5:12-85.1C and NJAC 13:69C-2.7 C and D.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
And Chairman Pelosi?
Yes.
In accordance with Resolution 19121103, the next closed session of the Commission shall be held on Wednesday, December 9, 2020, at 9:30 a.m. in the Commission offices, barring any need for another special meeting.
Thank you.
That was a joke.
This is the public participation portion of the meeting. Ms. Fauntleroy, are there any comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you please. We have one from Kyle Barkis that indicates, pass this through, please, win-win for everyone. From Tuan Nagian, when will the merger vote date be announced? When will the merger be completed? Thanks. And one from Mark Clayton. I'll try to summarize because it's lengthy. Approving Golden Nugget Online Gaming, also known as GNOG Inc., with a casino license so that it can merge with Lancadia Holdings and be a publicly traded company would be a positive for Atlantic City. One reason why is that it allows for a more transparent price discovery of the value of standalone online gaming operators, which have partnered with land-based casino operators. Online gaming and sports betting currently trade at a premium relative to the brick-and-mortar operations. One possible benefit of a higher valuation that may not be discussed is that as a result of this transaction, the value of the actual brick-and-mortar may increase, since by law an online gaming operator must be partnered with a land-based casino in Atlantic City to operate. More specifically, the online operator's viability depends on the actual viability of the land-based casino operator. For example, Lancadia Holdings stock market valuation, which has no revenues prior to this merger and has a market value approaching $1 billion. This valuation is based on the prospect of this transaction and the projected future success of the online gaming in New Jersey and other jurisdictions. The cost of a casino building with a license in Atlantic City is de minimis compared to the market valuation of a highly successful online gaming operator such as GNOG. For example, Bally's Atlantic City just sold for $25 million with a casino license. It's possible in the future that the continued success of online gaming in New Jersey, that the high valuation of online gaming will drive the value up of the limited casino buildings available. This has not happened yet, as evidenced by Bally's recent market price, but if there is a publicly traded online gaming operator, this could change, and additional investment could come into Atlantic City as a result of higher valuations. It is not inconceivable that an online gaming partner such as DraftKings, FanDuel, or other independent gaming operator buys its own land-based casino in Atlantic City and pays a higher premium for a land-based casino than what they are currently selling for. Land-based casinos in Atlantic City are currently far undervalued when including the ability to offer online gaming and partner with online gaming operators. The approval of a license for GNOG so that it can be a public company may very well change the landscape in Atlantic City and future investment into Atlantic City. Thank you, Mark Clayton.
Thank you.
That is
And we will
all.
respond to those questions in due course. Any other matters? Hearing none, I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.